Hello everyone, really glad to be here. It's an amazing country, I think everyone already knows. I will start with a story. So this is how my life looked like and looked like in the last couple of years. On the one side I have the business part, so entrepreneur, part of huge corporations that got listed to New York Stock Exchange. But also in my free time I'm a racing driver, pilot. And luckily for me, I'm still winning, so it's okay. But I'll start with a story. The first online store that I started was in 2007. And back then, kind of no one expected for shoes to be bought online, at least in Romania. Although we had Zappos, although I encourage everyone to read if they didn't read the book Delivering Happiness from the founder of Zappos. So back then, I was thinking that everything will be bought online. Right now, it's kind of easy to say, okay, we will buy online or we buy online everything. But back then, when we got used, when we first started to buy online, like books, electronics, and so on, no one was thinking that we would buy fresh food or, I don't know, cars or even put a down payment for a flat or something like that online. Fast forward, everyone knows what happened, so we are in 2024, and I remember 4 years ago when I asked someone in the United States what's the recommendation on me to invest in online. He said, think about the one thing that will never be bought online and invest heavily there, because it will be bought online. So back then I was thinking about beverages or whatever because of the logistics and everything, so unluckily for me, I didn't invest in that area, but that's still something that is very powerful. And also on the other side, on the technical part, because I'm a software engineer by education, I was always thinking that if you can say it in words, it can be done. It can be written. You can have a code, you can write a program, you can write a code, and it can be done. And also, in parallel to that, in the last couple of years, while I was building VTEX, a technology company in the region, I kind of, because of the market, the labor market and developers gave us a bit of pain when hiring and when working with them. I was always thinking that we will end up coding in natural language. Basically, this is something that kind of happened. And if you combine the two stories, if you combine the two parts, the part with the, let's say, everything can be bought online and everything is being bought online, and if we combine that with the fact that we can easily write code and the AI is here, is not something that will be, I don't know, is the future of technology, is not something that will happen in the future, is not something that we will need to get used to right now, because it's currently happening. And I saw a presentation in the morning talking about, I don't know, Google, Facebook, Netflix, and even yesterday Google was announcing a product that they are already piloting in the United States. We see everything that is happening right now, and we have it in our pocket. We are already getting used to, we as a consumer. And right now we are going to talk about, okay, why not doing the next natural step and including, let's say, in our processes, in the businesses that we are running and in everything that we are doing on a day-to-day basis. Why now? So why everyone is talking about AI now, or started to talk, I don't know, in 2022 heavily, in 2023 we reached the peak in investment, and in 2024 everyone is talking about, if you don't include, if you don't optimize your processes, if you don't increase your sales, do whatever you can do with AI, your business is more likely not going to be in the next 5 years. Some say, I would say 2-3 years, even less, or depending on the business, right? On one side, we have the processing power and the development that had been done on the hardware part. Literally the development on microprocessors, on GPUs, on CPUs, on memory, on all of those things. That came from the investment that had been done in research of everything that's going out there. The volume of data, every company, everyone is used on collecting data everyone kind of is used with sharing data. It's not a mystery, and it's not something that we are, let's say, rejecting heavily, we as a consumer. If someone is asking for our data, we kind of already know that all the data is out there, kind of everyone does whatever they want to do with our data. So we are not that, let's say, heavily rejecting giving our data. On the other side is because of generative AI, we'll talk in 1 second. Here you have a graph. I'll show this presentation, of course. And you have the training, let's say, need, the computation that was needed for those models. There you have in the top the GPT-4. And then on the left side, the knowledge base and the knowledge percentage and let's say, how smart the model is. With heavy training and with more data, the model became more powerful. And that's, of course, because of generative AI that opened the door to a lot of other functionalities and other parts of our day-to-day tasks. And it came to the mass market, right? So, for example, if I first got in contact with the AI field in 2008, 2009 in my faculty. So if I wanted to train a model, it would have needed a lot of computation power, it would have needed a lot of data and all of those things. So it's a matter of training the data, it's a matter of having the right data to train the model and also the right resources. And the adoption curve, right now there are a lot of companies doing that, there are a lot of tools doing that. Mostly the companies that are kind of leading in their industry. If we think about Google, Meta, Netflix, Airbnb, Uber, and so on, all of them incorporated a sort of AI in their tool and are using and are taking advantage of that. So the adoption is there, but right now, it also came into the public market and the adoption curve is there and we can use it, right? So talking about AI in commerce, I saw the presentation of Vlad, accurate, and we were talking earlier in the lunch break, that those things that there are still a lot of companies that aren't doing that, product recommendation, I don't know, cross-sell, upsell, and all of those things that we can do with out-of-the-box solutions. Like he said, okay, testing for 30 days for free, that means that is installable and applicable out of the box, right? And then very easy. Still companies in 2024 are not doing that, and I saw that Amazon did that in '97, right? So that's 27 years ago, okay? It's kind of strange that there are still a lot of companies that are not doing that. So AI is here in e-commerce, and it has been for a lot of years. Is part of kind of everything that we are doing, is part of our marketing as an e-commerce players, because we are doing marketing with the help of recommendation tools and everything we are doing on-site and also off-site, the advertising and all of those parts. And it's helping us, let's say, understanding the business and everything that we are doing, either if we are implementing a chatbot, either if we are analyzing the data, doing predictive analytics and all of those things. Now, going to the AI part, kind of everything that we are using nowadays and everything that is being available, scientists are calling it narrow AI or weak AI. Is AI that we need data to train and we use it for very specific examples and for very specific, let's say, use cases. Even if we are talking about generative AI, even if we are talking about, let's say, complex use cases of AI, it's still narrow AI. It's still, we didn't reach the theory of mind or the artificial general intelligence or even the self-aware AI, right? We don't have the, let's say, the software doesn't stand there and learns by itself without us giving it a command. And if we look at generative AI, it's simply statistics on, okay, what token is following the token that is currently now. So it's only a matter of mathematical modeling, I would say. But because of the large volume of data, that's also perceived right now as being very intelligent. But still the trends and everything that is done right now with the multimodal large language models that are going to accept as input text, video, voice, whatever, everyone is tending to go to the theory of mind, right? Like how our mind is working. We understand when someone is speaking doing, I don't know, all sort of signs with their hands or whatever. We understand different things from that, and that's more like closer to the theory of mind. That's still far away to artificial general intelligence or to self-aware AI, right? So we are still early in this area. That's why I think it's very important to understand how it works, because if we don't understand how it works now, we have no chance in understanding how it will work in the future and how all the theory and everything that's related to the AI will work. And that's why I came out with these basic steps that will help us all, let's say, work and use it in our daily lives, okay? So first of all, I encourage everyone to do a bit of research, have a, I don't know, consume a bit of documentation that is out there for each industry. So have a look on YouTube, different videos, different whatever. So understand the basics of AI and the basics of AI in that industry. That means that we are kind of close to the second step, as us acquiring a skill to understand that and to understand how those things are working. Then once we understand how it's working and we understand how it's working in our domain and what are the use cases in our domain, that means that we can create a strategy. Of course, the worst strategy is better than no strategy, right? So if we want to implement as a first step, I don't know, a very basic process in our organization, or a very basic, I don't know, a documentation process, or optimizing our day-to-day lives, or doing research, or doing summary, or doing whatever is that we are doing as an e-commerce player or as a services supplier or whatever, that means that we are starting to do that. And also going to the implementation. We really need to evaluate, but evaluate in a very clear way and in a very tangible way and mathematical way, because we are evaluating the impact of something mathematic. We can't evaluate, no, it doesn't work. I heard this a million times. When I'm telling that I came back to entrepreneurship this time in AI and I'm building a billion-dollar company, everyone is saying, okay, I tested AI, it's not working. Okay, maybe you tested a chatbot, or maybe you tested a part of something that is the general purpose of AI. You can't say that it's not working. It's like I'm saying I tested eating, or I tested driving a car and it's not working. It depends on what you eat, what you drive, and so on. So it depends. The spectrum is so large that an evaluation is to be done very good. Then a full integration, so we started testing something, we evaluated, and we are kind of convinced. That means that we go to the next step and integrate that in our business. Of course, that needs to be a loop, so it needs to be continuous improvement and evaluation. That needs to go in every process that we are doing. Of course, if we are implementing something right now, doesn't mean that it will be generally available in, I don't know, 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years. It can change in the next 2 weeks, or it can stay for 2 years. It depends on, that's why we need to evaluate. And we need to monitor whatever is happening in the market and whatever is happening in the future, because we need to adapt and we need to implement again. Where is AI standing right now? So if we look on the operational efficiency, if we look on the decision-making and on customer experience and everything that we are doing on this side, it doesn't matter if we are, again, in any industry, we always have a customer, right? It doesn't matter if it's B2B, B2C, direct-to-consumer, it doesn't matter. We have decisions and we have operations, right? So it doesn't matter where are we, kind of in all of those processes we have AI integrated, and we have the possibility to integrate AI. And to, again, coming back to what I said, that is narrow AI, that is weak AI, if we just need to understand how our business is working. And coming back to what I said in the beginning, that everything that can be done in words, can be said in words, can be done on the technology part and can be implemented in the software. Coming back to that is, right now, all the developments that happened and all the large language models that got trained to understand our language and to understand and to serve us, and the barrier of implementing, but the barrier from I don't know, us thinking about and wanting to implement a process, acquiring the technical skills, actually saying to someone technical to implement our process, to the implementation is done. It's not a barrier anymore. with us having skills in our industry, we can say to Llama 2 or now Llama 3 from Meta is coming, and it can generate a step-by-step how to implement, how to get the information and how to pass the information to developers, how to create a plan, how to create a development plan, a roadmap for implementation of my product and so on. So the barrier, because everyone was saying, if you remember 5 years ago, everyone was saying that we need to teach our children how to code. And people need to learn how to code and learn math and from the very beginning. Not necessarily, not anymore, because we have those amazing tools that got trained on trillions of data that right now is answering of us, and kind of more important got to become more important right now is the prompt engineering. So how we ask for something. That was very important from the very beginning of time, right? It was very important how we ask for our leader or for our friend or from our partner what we need. That was very important always. Now it's important how we ask a large language model what we need. So the prompt engineering is right now a bit more important than any other skill that I can develop. That doesn't mean that AI will replace our creativity. So it's something that everyone is asking, okay, but what's happening right now, because it's not, and as I'm saying, right, it's a mathematical model, so it's nothing creative there. But if we think a bit on how we interact or how we teach others or how we present ourselves or how we create an artwork or whatever, at the end of the day, it's still mathematical model, or it's still a logical way of doing that and of training someone. And it's kind of similar to how large language models are working or how machine learning is going and all of those things. So very important is for it to become let's say for us to become augmented by that, by the artificial intelligence and by the tools that we are using. And that's something that we are used to. Everyone has a telephone in their hand, has the level of intelligence that, I don't know, if you go back in time 50 years ago, 50, not 5,000, not 500, it was impossible to perceive. So if you would say to someone that you would have the level of intelligence that we have right now in a phone, to someone that was 50 years ago, they would consider you crazy, or they would consider that we reached the level of gods or the level of super intelligence, right? And now we take it for granted, and we are used to that. That's why I'm saying it's very important to get used to use artificial intelligence currently. So if we go right now to everything that is happening in e-commerce, of course, we have a million use cases. And as I said, all of them are there. All of them have already tools out of the box. All of them have different optimization tracks, optimization areas, have different costs, the cost of entry and the cost of, let's say, penetrating a market, an e-commerce market, a B2B market, a services market is cheaper and cheaper, and it's less of an effort for us to implement any of those processes and anything that we are doing in terms of how AI is helping us. And that's something that I like this parallel that is like how electricity was to industrial revolution is exactly that. Because if we are not using anything related to AI, or if we don't take advantage of the intelligence that we have out there right now in e-commerce, it's exactly like having a machine or having something that was working on electricity in the industrial revolution, but we don't plug it in. We expect that magic would happen, or we expect that we are as efficient as someone that is already using that. Of course, it's not going to happen, right? Some things to consider that everyone is talking about, and I think is more and more important, the ethics behind that, and the responsible use of AI, because it's our responsibility. It's not something that we should wait to fall out of the sky and for someone to regulate or to impose different restrictions, because until it will happen, it will be too late. My personal opinion is that it's already too late. That's why everyone, all the leaders in AI worldwide are right now talking a lot about this topic. That means that they are kind of afraid, and also that's kind of out there, and it's uncontrollable. The use of AI, it's uncontrollable. From here, you see all the stories with deepfake, all the stories right now in elections, the manipulation, and all of those things. And it will be worse at the end of this year when all the elections in, I don't know, 70% of the countries worldwide will be already done, and we'll see a lot of use cases in which this was implemented and this was used with harm. And all of those, let's say, that comes with it, right? The bias, the data privacy, and all of those things. Kind of in the same direction, I would encourage everyone to build something that makes you proud, makes you, I don't know, say, it's very important why we wake up in the morning, right? Why we do what we do, why we are in the sector that we are right now, and what we leave behind, right? Of course, it's like the pyramid of Maslow. If we don't cover the basics, we can't think about, okay, what we will leave behind us. But once we go on the pyramid and once we reach the point on thinking about that, I encourage everyone to think, okay, what we will leave behind. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Right?
I have one question, because we're out of time, but I have one question, and I need a quick answer, as quick as possible. All that you said was very interesting, but a lot of people will say that's okay, but this applies to a bigger company, to a large company. When we're talking about, especially in the e-shops and the e-commerce and digital marketing, we're talking about small and medium-sized companies or medium-sized companies. Does these things apply also the same?
Yeah, for example, using ChatGPT, right, to help us document products, or any other model that's, for example, Llama 2 is open source. We don't even pay the pay-per-use like we do in ChatGPT. It's only a matter of us being inventive and being curious about that. That's why I came with that first step in understanding, okay, how those things can be implemented. And being a small company and a small group of people gives a lot more speed and a lot more liberty in the processes as a big company, right? It's very hard to change the process of documenting products, of doing marketing, doing SEO in a big company, and the stakes are too high to test than in a very small company.
Cristi, thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
You will be around here if someone wants to talk to you, right?
Yes.